Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Welcome to Night of the Living podcast. I'm Freddy, and we're doing cursed object movies. Andy named it Kirstie Alley.
Hi.
There's Kelley. Here's the titular Andy, who made the titular title of our titular week of titulars.
I named it Kirstie Alley.
And Amy.
Hello.
This is our second time recording this because
Speaking of cursed objects.
Yeah, we had a problem, technical issue, but you don't need to know the details of that.
Freddy broke up.
We'll focus on the fun. Tim won our mailing list raffle. If you want to sign up for our mailing list.
You know Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Tim. You scroll down on our site, notlp.com, till you see Dracula. Sign up there. And you may be picked randomly to pick one of our main attractions. Since the theme is cursed objects, Kirstie Alley. Because, yeah, that's adorable. I made a little graphic with a Kirstie Alley where she has, her eyes are all fucked up.
In Cheers font.
In Cheers font.
Yeah, that's good.
I felt inspired by Andy's pun. So
yes, she finally looks. Freddy's little graphic. That's how she looks on the inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a monster.
And she's a nasty, nasty woman.
So, we're doing Oculus, the Mike Flanagan joint from WWE Pictures. That made them a pretty respectable movie house. I feel,
in my eyes,
because he's developed quite the
He brought him
portfolio.
up to a level, you know.
He climbed. It was like a tables, ladders, and chairs match when he came in. It was like was it Rage in a Cage or whatever?
Sure.
Sodomy on a lobotomy.
Oh,
I think it was Caged Heat. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah. So in the prior versions of this, what we didn't talk about patreon.com/NOTLP. Origins.
We were going to get to it.
We were.
Yeah. Origins was about Swamp Thing. Let's check that out.
a lot of Whorehound Weekend talk from the time.
That's right. We had a pretty deep conversation about like what we owe to celebrity guests and how that transaction works and morality and treating people right. It was a good conversation.
It was.
Yeah, and then I'm going to be reviewing Amy's movie for her in Straight-to-Video Russian Roulette, Blood Vessel.
I completely forgot until about an hour before we were supposed to record. I was like, holy fuck.
Shit happens.
It really
I
does.
can't hassle you.
Yeah, but Freddy's already
You're
seen
lucky
it.
I'd already seen it.
Yeah, we can blame it on daylight savings time.
You're fucking lucky, Amy.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking lucky.
I like to present this as
I
if...
know.
Hey, there's Alise. Hi, Alise.
Hi, Alise.
I'd like to present this as if Amy watched...
Might need charged.
I do need charged.
I tried to do that off mic.
That was funny. The Mario Lopez, The Journey Absolution.
Yeah, we
That
were
was what it's
telling them
called?
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a conversation because Amy was so enthused about this Mario Lopez movie.
David DeCoteau.
I was enthused because it's the Riff Tracks version on Prime, and Mario Lopez is in it. Richard Grieco is in it. Jamie Presley is in it. David DeCoteau does his same old thing.
He does it.
Hello.
Yeah, it's very erotic.
Many young men walking around in underwear.
So this is the one movie where you don't see Jamie Presley's nice little bottom. Probably.
Not that I remember.
I don't remember that, but you do see some dudes' bottoms and
Dude bottoms.
and you see
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
you see a scene where
didn't
she's
mind it.
one of two girls that snuck onto the we said this in the prior recording in the before times that this was a male gay fantasy scenario at a military boarding school, but set in a post-apocalyptic world.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it is that fantasy of, the drill sergeant, the domination. It's mostly a movie. It's kind of a domination fantasy.
Yeah, it's like that scene from Kids in the Hall where you get the
hard muscles.
Hard muscles.
Yeah, it's that. Only taken. I feels like they took it seriously, even though it's ridiculous.
But you were talking about Jamie Presley.
Oh, yeah. She's one of the two girls that sneak on. So it's really funny. I feel like David Dakota sometimes throws women into...
There's always one woman.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It's to make it not obviously gay. Like, hey, there's a chick in here, so...
It's more... it makes it more gay
it's
because of the contrast, where they have to act like they're attracted to one another.
Yeah.
And you're like, this just dialed the gay way up. But it's fun. It's a riff track.
So why did she sneak on the base? Is she trying to... They do a she's the man type thing where she's trying to
she came to party.
She's just there to party with the dudes in their underwear.
Yeah.
She's
She wants
fully
to party.
dressed. They're all in their underwear.
Yeah.
It's whatever it's
It's
you
kind of
remember
it's
those
like
kind of parties.
It looks like a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
But
just two party.
like if you
Partying
when you were younger and you would put on your really super tight boxer briefs and make sure that your nuts and your penis were pointing directly outward and that they were platformed out.
How do you make your nuts point out?
It's the only way you can wear those.
It's got the pouch.
Oh, okay.
And then they got the pouch. And then you remember this? You remember when this is real common? Everybody had this experience where you're together with like 20 of your really fit, hairless friends. And then they send a couple of fully dressed 20-something women in who look real bored, but one of them's dancing sexy because some stuff's going to go down.
I missed out on so much.
It's been it's been since like 2004, 2005 since I've even been anywhere near one of those parties.
And then the lady acts like she's super into it and she's horny, and one of the guys is like, "Let's have this hoe."
Let's get on underwear, you guys. Amy, you dance around.
Okay.
You leave your clothes on.
I will.
It's so awkward.
He did call her a
Don't
hoe.
say it like it was like always an option. I say
Okay, sir.
my party.
Your party.
But so Amy, did this movie do anything for you?
No.
Is that why you forgot to watch your straight to video movie? You were
That's
so
what it was.
distracted
Absolutely.
by all the tidy whities that you were like, ooh, that's all I can think about right now.
I'm not judging anybody, but tidy whities are the grossest thing. Even when they're in boxer brief form, your underwear just shouldn't be stark white. It's weird. I don't like it.
I'll agree. I'll
it looks
absolutely
weird on
agree.
you.
I'm going to disagree. I think it's it's nice to look at.
It looks
It's
crisp.
It's a thing I never. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. Even as a kid, I didn't like tidy whities. I was very excited to not wear them anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand these. I don't know
I
why.
thought you were like, I was very excited to unwhite them. You know how you get a new pair of sneakers and they're white, and that used to be a thing people cared about?
It's like, hey man, you scuffed my tidy whities.
I won't say that wasn't part of the reason I was excited to get out of them.
Yeah, because you were tired of seeing your own effluence like smeared out on your clothing.
They're real easy to deflower.
Oh my God.
Can you believe we lived in a world without bidets until recently? Do you know how many cases of fudge drawers we could have prevented in this country?
I know. All the bullying that could have been avoided
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All you
in
need
gym
to do.
classes all across the country.
Because people are afraid of their buttholes.
Did that happen to you guys? Did somebody see your streaks in your underwear and make fun of you for it?
No, but I was always worried.
I had a problem with like making sure that never ever happened. I was obsessed with having a clean butt, which is not good either. I swung the opposite direction where I was wiping too much.
If anything, it's too clean.
Yeah. I probably have scars
Wait.
back there.
Well, Amy and I saw an episode of that. It was an obsessed episode or something.
Oh
And
yeah.
some lady, she was real obsessed with being squeaky clean.
Toothbrush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one?
She ended up at the ER a few times because she's bleeding.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like there's also a rumor about somebody in high school that went around? They're like, they
No.
jam toothbrushes up their butt.
No, I just heard the peanut butter one.
You
I
peanut
don't
butter
remember
girls.
that one.
They were best friends.
Yeah. Cool.
Tidy whities.
Anything else we want to talk about at the top of the show?
It's hard to be funny after we were so hilarious and before.
You guys
And we
You guys
lost.
really missed something. What was
Yeah, we
lost
lost it.
cannot be. It was
Yeah,
priceless.
it's honest. It's very deflating because it's kind of like you have to
so
be funny. It's like somebody telling you, a comedian, "Hey, tell me a joke," or "Be funny." It's like I can't. It has to be natural.
Do you remember? So we had a little backyard hang yesterday. My mom came over, Andy came over, Mikey B came over,
Red Rover came over.
and then Red Rover, and so on and so forth. But we were hanging out, and Freddie was playing some music, and all of a sudden, Bon Jovi's "My Life" came on,
Terrible song.
and we're all like, "This song sucks." And my mom said,
Andy
"Oh, I like
Freddie
that
got
song."
mad.
Whoa, you guys sound like robots.
Do we still sound like robots?
Robots.
It's just those two.
This episode is cursed. I'm telling you guys.
You know, it is weird that like we're doing a show about. Oh, try again.
Now, you're kind of glitching. Are
You
you
just
glitching?
became a robot.
Yeah.
I did.
This is great. Okay.
You did.
Does everybody sound okay
You
now?
became the most robot of robots.
Is it possible?
Do we sound okay right now?
Better one, better two.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see your lips move though.
I see your lips.
Is it because
here.
we tried to? Is it because you try to slander Bon Jovi?
Well,
And
that's a bad
Big
song.
Jovi is onto us.
And I
Big
love my
Jovi.
mother, but when she said that she liked that song, it was, as Andy just said, deflating. I'm kidding, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for Straight-to-Video Russian Roulette.
What was that? Nazis.
I don't care if it's Hitler's personal pleasure cruiser. This is the only ship that we've came across the last
Keep your voice down. He's right, Captain. The Russians are done.
We got to get off this raft. Simple as that, Captain.
You know what I think is strange?
Come on, Cap. Hey, what was just going overboard?
Oh, enough! Always is fighting and shouting. No one comes to see.
Engine's running, but
Nobody's home.
bet this tub's still crawling with Krause.
I heard flyboys talking about gremlins causing all kinds of trouble.
You know, whatever happened on this ship, it wasn't gremlins. Something far more real.
They brought these caskets on board. One of these things got out.
Get fucked.
Shapeshifters. They move by night, hunting.
I've been killing monsters for years. A few more won't hurt.
That looked fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Actually, it was. It's one of those things that I don't necessarily want to spoil. It's not something I would watch again, probably, unless I was watching it with somebody who is really into the particular kind of monster in this movie.
Yeah.
Basically, what it is, there are these allied people, and when I mean like as in the sense of World War II allied.
There's another World War II horror movie.
Yep. And they happen to be, it starts off there in a lifeboat together. You don't really know exactly.
Did you say the name of it?
Blood Vessel.
Yeah.
This is
It's a play. It's a play because it takes place on a ship and it's a vessel and it is bloody.
precisely. And the guy who directed it, who wrote and directed it, he worked in special effects on really big movies like Star Wars and stuff. And this is kind of got that polished look to it that you kind of expect from the effects.
The creature makeup looked good in the trailer.
Yeah, it's also kind of a throwback. The look of the creature makeup and everything. It feels very like 80s practical.
Nice.
So that's definitely a plus. It also does have some goofy, digital effects like everything does anymore. But overall pretty entertaining. It's something in the tradition of movies like Aliens is what I would say. Only, not something I would want to revisit. It didn't knock Kelly's dick in the dirt.
It didn't. It kind of gave me the trailer gave me like a From Dusk Till Dawn in World War II on a boat kind of feel.
That is exactly what the movie is, pretty much.
Damn.
It doesn't have the swagger or the style of From Dusk Till Dawn, but structurally, it's a switcheroo movie. And, but it had decent atmosphere. It had a few good, really, really good moments. The performances were all solid, and some of them were really good. I recommend it. It's a Shudder original, I believe. I don't know if I get confused as which ones they bought.
It's an exclusive is what they said.
Okay, so they bought it then, I guess. And but it's definitely one of those quality things that you'll find a great way to spend like 90 minutes if you're really into monster movies. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but they end up on a Nazi vessel, and it's a ghost ship. And is it plainly obvious from what I've said and what you saw in that trailer what is going on in that movie?
Well, there's like Nazi experiments.
There's like vampires. It seems like they've found some paranormal like artifacts that they tried to ship because Hitler's nuts on the subject. And it turns out they brought some kind of vampire werewolf things.
Yeah, so it is obvious then that it's vampires.
And from the trailer too.
Yeah, so
super obvious. That's why I was into it. I was like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, so it has, I love, vampires on a sailing vessel or on the water for some reason is just a great trope for me. It works for me.
Yes.
Because it reminds me of Dracula, the book. And
it's a shame we'll never get the last voyage of the Demeter like we were promised.
Are you sure that's never going to happen though?
I'm not sure it's never, but I'm pretty sure. But that project has got to be squashed.
This has the feeling of a good horror survival game too.
Yeah,
it would have probably been a better game than a movie, I think. But it is fun. Kelley, I definitely think you would enjoy it, and I think you would too, Andy, because it's popcorny. So,
is it a big spoiler that it's vampires?
Well,
it's in the trailer.
Yeah, it's in the trailer. I mean, like the big twist is,
Don't say the big twist.
No, but I mean in the middle of the movie, like they give you. There's a lot of World War II front load to this, but it's well done. So like it kind of reminded me of that other movie I watched, the VR.
Ghosts of War, the one.
Yeah, Ghosts of War. Yeah, like it was on that level as far as like production quality and everything. Check it out.
Yeah, it looks great. I probably will. It looks like a lot of fun.
Thank God for Hitler's love of the occult.
It's afforded us so much rich.
Yeah, really great stories.
Pop culture horror tropes.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy them while we still can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
before they fade from memory.
That was my 5-minute review.
Thank you for Freddy. Thank you for Freddy.
Thank you for Freddy. No, thank you for Freddy.
Thank you.
This is what happens when you take a bullet, though, because I didn't have quite the fresh.
Yeah,
take.
It's been a couple weeks since he's seen it, and I fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So are you just gonna watch the movie next week, Amy?
No, we're still gonna shoot.
Okay.
I'm just back in.
She's back in. I'm exempt.
Okay. So we're gonna start with Kel.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see. Kelly's box.
Crank that jack in the box.
The lunchbox.
Crank that soldier boy.
All right.
Remember that song?
Andy's turn.
Andy's turn has got it going on.
Turns out Amy's gonna watch the movie anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. It's only fitting.
It's only fair.
looking for now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time.
Wowzers.
Thank you, Colonel.
So, I popped the Jack in the Box anyway.
Yeah, you jagged it.
I'm trying to find a not terrible description of this movie, like one that isn't like huge and detailed, and one that's like more succinct. It's called The Cleansing Hour. It's on Shudder. Let's see.
That's too long for the butt, by the way. You don't want to take a full hour to cleanse your bottom, because then you're going to start bleeding. And you think you're doing God's work, but you're really, at that point, you're just turning yourself into a bag of shredded mozzarella.
Maybe that's the whole movie. It's just some lady to clean her butthole for an hour
I do not want to watch that. Yeah. But seriously, The Cleansing Hour. Another successful exorcism streamed online, or so it seems. Can The Exorcist, producer, and their team bring the ratings up? Ratings skyrocket when a real demon gets involved.
Oh, this sounds like fun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till the cleansing hour.
Sounds like Ghostwatch, actually.
Yeah.
And my suds come trickling down.
Okay.
So, Freddy, just watch this movie just in case Amy forgets again.
Can you back me up?
Yeah.
I'm a mess.
I'm her backup this week.
I'm a messy bitch.
We should always back up Amy just in case she crashes.
Yeah, it happens quite a bit.
That's what friends are for.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah, good job. Vampers.
Keep smiling. Knowing you can always count on me.
We'll have the rest of that song. We don't get charged.
For sure.
You all right, Freddy?
I'm just looking for the correct button.
The Craig button?
Correct.
See the mirror hanging there. Face of silver, frame of black. Oculus of glass. I stare. I can feel you staring back. I hear your voice. Believe your lies. A window, portal, darkened door. Should you claim my staring eyes, my soul you hold forevermore.
That's a spooky little trailer.
Great. I love this movie because I feel like this came along. First of all, Mike Flanagan does a great job because I feel like he works in, there's this sort of horror, a lot of Blumhouse, however you want to say it. They're doing a great job, like trying to make some story-driven horror movies, but sometimes even the good ones have sort of a cheap, fast feel. Mm-hmm. Not in a bad way, but like I feel like he kind of classes things up a little bit in that group. You know, listen, I love me a Conjuring universe, James Wan movie. I love it, but I feel like Mike Flanagan has a defter hand with ghosts and the super.
I feel his movies are deeper than those other Conjuring or that universe movies. They're very surface level horror.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Mike Flanagan's stuff is more character driven.
Yes. And he also gets just how to make things.
Well, you care about the characters a lot. So the horror stuff hits a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because you care about these characters so much that you root for them so hard. And when the bad stuff happens to them, it really hits because, like I said, you care about them. and they have backstories and they're fleshed out.
And they're also, don't you feel too?
They're not just characters; they're actual people.
Yeah, and they're all damaged people too.
Yeah.
Like when you go to The Conjuring, those people could be anybody.
Right.
Mike Flanagan characters are usually people who have had real trouble in their lives.
Loss, usually. It's usually a grief. Yeah. The ghosties and the scares are a mechanism of the grief the people are experiencing. So it's very relatable that way.
Truth,
bitch. Sit down. We're
Hashtag.
spitting truth here today. Is it Karen Gillian?
Karen Gillan.
Or Gillan? Gillan.
I'm so sorry, Karen G. I love her so much.
She's great.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she really is.
I'll watch anything with her in it.
Even when her accent...
Even the cleansing hour? When she's washing her asshole for an hour?
Sure, if that's like... She consents to it and it is making money off of it.
She would probably, I think people would buy a ticket to that show.
I would.
Certainly.
Absolutely. So you got a guy and he's getting out of the loony bin. That's not a nice way to put it. And I'll be apologizing for that in 12 years.
You could apologize right now.
Not a nice way to put it. I apologize.
Although if I were in a place like that, I would call it the loony bin.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Because when he was a younger child, he killed his father.
He popped a cap in his daddy's ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been in the psychiatric facility for years and years and years, and now he's ready to be back out into the world. He's going to go be with his sister to start. But she's got her own plans.
Played by Karen Gillan. Yes.
Karen Gillan, yeah.
And the thing, I find it endearing how she has a very imperfect American accent, like in her earlier stuff, but it's hers. Sometimes you get actors that when they do another accent, that's not their, their natural accent.
Yeah, I never noticed really bad American accents because American accents are very, there's a lot of different American accents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Not everybody in America sounds the same. So when
that's true of all
British people
countries.
do like bad accents, I don't really notice it.
I don't either.
Well, when we do a British accent, like to them, they have all those regional dialects and accents too.
And we still sound stupid.
So we sound, I think when American actors do it, they probably get like Northerner and Southerner accents and, specific cultural stuff mixed up. And I think when they stand out as being fake is when they blend two regions together that don't go together, like Southwestern accent and like Maine. Or something.
Except you can do that. There are definitely tons of people in Maine that probably sound like they are from the Southwest.
Yeah, at this point, I can't even tell anymore because there's just so much. People from Ohio talk like from their South because they have kin in Kentucky.
We're all going to sound the same eventually, because of the internet.
Yeah, really, and whatever. I mean, you can find pride in your local regional accent, but I think overall Americans don't have particular. They're not like that is not an Alabama accent. Yeah. That is a Tennessee. I mean, you can kind of pick. I don't think anybody's like real up in arms about that.
Yeah, it's not more about the accent than the lingo that they're more up in
Your
arms
cousin
about.
from Boston. He's up in arms. Boston people.
Yeah.
They don't like. They don't like They don't like an inaccurate Boston accent.
Yeah, but nobody cares about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Who gives
if you
a
offend
shit?
someone in Europe with their accent, you kind of feel bad. I'll look a Bostonians person in the face and do a horrible Boston accent, offend them, but I don't care.
And plus, they're from Boston. They're easily offended anyway.
Because it's one of your own. You're allowed to make fun of your own.
That's how I feel about that. Accent wise.
I think accents are great.
Yeah. I never noticed that she had a bad accent.
I didn't notice it at all either.
Yeah.
It's very subtle. And I don't mean it's like dramatically bad. What I mean is like it's distinctly her.
Stuff, yeah.
So
she has gotten the mirror that was in her dad's office, the mirror that destroyed their family with its evil ways.
The creepy, freaky mirror.
And she's like, you and I are going to defeat the mirror.
She works for an auctioneer business, a Sotheby's type.
A Sotheby's type.
Yeah.
And she has brought the mirror back to their childhood home. And she's like, we're going to defeat the mirror. And her brother's like, no. They told me at the psychiatric facility that none of that was real.
This is great. This is such a great setup because, and again, like, so she uses her job as a subterfuge to acquire this antique mirror that, like Amy said, was hung in her father's study. And her father, played by, as I told the crew over text, the guy that played Lucas in Empire Records, who is the only the last time I watched Empire Records, I hated myself for ever having been into it.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Lucas was still the character that I was still okay with.
Gotcha.
So I like that actor. I can't ever think of his name.
Rory Cochrane.
Thank you. I like that guy.
He always looks tired.
He does. And so he even in Empire Records, he was like, that's why I liked him. He was kind of the mature one. But she uses her job to reacquire this after searching for it for years, which again, I love this. I was saying it reminded me of like those old horror shorts from the 60s and 70s that you just find in these little paperback collections by like these writers who work, they probably wrote for TV too. And, but just these weird little throwaway ghost stories that like slap you in the face and
ow.
Exactly. And this had that feel. And so you've got this back, she's used her job now to get this antique to bring it back. And like, I love the idea that a lot of the conflict in this is the unsureness, because of course her brother has been kind of treated and received therapy to convince him that what he experienced was a delusion.
Yeah, he's been gaslit.
I have a question about what does she work in antiques already?
She works for the auction house.
Now, that's probably why she works in that field to begin with, is because of the mirror.
Yeah, maybe,
which makes you wonder how many other times she's thought she's had it, or like you could do a prequel with like other scenarios and stuff.
It's a great.
You could do a whole series like a Hill House type thing, where you see how the mirror changed hands and how it affected different owners. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
It's an Easter egg in all of everything he made after, right?
Yeah. So she's like super prepared. She has been waiting for this moment for years and years and years.
It's her white whale.
Yeah, like she's got the house outfitted with cameras and motion detectors and like backup lights and a way to a kill switch to destroy the mirror in case things go horribly awry. She's got her fiance calling her every hour to double check on her.
Because the mirror changes reality.
Completely.
The mirror affects and manipulates your perception if it's real.
Yeah, that's another thing I love about this particular cursed object. Like most cursed object movies, it just brings you bad luck.
Yeah.
Or it summons something that you have to defeat. But this one has like a mind of its own.
Mm-hmm.
And it thinks. And
it's Christine.
It fucks with you.
It reminded me a lot of Book of Shadows, which I think is really underrated.
Blair Witch too?
Yeah. Because they use the same concept in that movie. I don't know when the last time you guys saw that was.
It's been a while.
When we did it for the show.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
You still hate it, really?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's such a similar conceit that like there are times when you're not in control of what you're doing and you're not aware of it.
Yeah, the conceit's great.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Where, there's these moments when she'll go back and look at the tape and they weren't doing what they thought they were doing. They see themselves on camera
Kelley,
doing something completely different.
You get, but burn notice.
Yeah, Jeffrey Donovan. I love him. Don't like that movie, though.
It's Freddy. That's not.
But burn notice.
He doesn't.
No, I still haven't seen Burn Notice. I just remembered that's where he started out, was in Book of Shadows, but now he's a Burn Notice.
He's Burn Notice.
His notices have been burned.
That's exactly right.
All of them.
Hey, who burned this notice?
You notice.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, and she finds herself, she thinks she's doing one thing, thinks she's eating.
Yeah.
Because she has to make herself eat so that the camera doesn't make, or not the camera, the mirror doesn't make her starve herself, or and then she what is she eating? Like an
apple.
But it's
an
an
onion.
apple. Yeah.
But then it wasn't. And then it's like, whoa, this movie is tripping me out.
You know what? There was one moment in that too where that is like, ow, ow.
Yeah.
She bites into the light bulb.
Yeah, but then when she's coming out of the hallucination, the way she rubs her lips with her fingers, I'm like, that would not be my instinct. I would still be so ginger. Even after I knew it was a hallucination, I would be so damn tender and ginger with my mouth.
Tender.
I'd treat it tenderly.
Gentle.
Chicken tenderly.
It is what's great about it too is like scenes like that, because he does tell his stories, and this one included, in a very kind of old-fashioned-y way, which is great, but then also uses moments like that to make it visceral for you, which I feel like there's a certain point in time where if they wanted to make ghost movies spooky, it was like almost too classy for things like that. Or, I like how he will mix in, kind of harsh, sharp.
Yeah. It's the mix moments. of the like gore with like the haunted stuff, which is like, he does very well. Like that scene where the dad thinks he's pulling off staples. But then he pulls out his nails. That's how fucked up this mirror is. It seems like it gets glee out of torturing people.
Well, that's a great point, is that, like, again, it's an idea where it's like, oh, it's a cursed mirror, I'm so scared. But he makes it scary. Like, it's like things that you wouldn't think about happening.
It has Perez Hilton's soul in it.
Yeah.
And it just draws white stuff on all those pictures.
Makes names up for people.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
So you're, the present day where they're trying to, I don't know if she wants evidence or to destroy it. I think
she wants evidence so she can exonerate her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I think to destroy it.
Yeah.
So you have this time, and then you have the flashbacks to when it started for them when they were kids, and mom and dad chains mom up and removes all her teeth. And she's a monstrous monster. Katie Sackhoff scared me a few times.
Oh, yeah. She was real scary.
Like with her mouth all swollen and like, ooh.
Well, yeah, the mirror drives. This is kind of a Lovecrafty thing too, where she's sort of losing her mind and getting gross up in the
getting gross
bedroom.
She is getting gross.
And the dad is getting deeper and deeper pulled into the mirror.
Yeah.
And it's glamour.
You're listening to Getting Gross on AM 550.
I don't get gross. I stay gross.
Ooh. Then I go around the corner and clean it up.
So it all culminates. Well, you find, so just to like underscore how the mirror manipulates reality around you and time and everything. Like, she's asked her fiance to call every hour. And then she thinks she sees something evil in the house and like stabs it, and then like blinks, and then nope, that's my fiance, and he's now dying and dead. Wait, he's calling me on the phone. Like, what the fuck was real there?
Right, and they never tell you.
And they never tell you if he was really there or not.
And then when you get to the end of the movie too, it all could have been.
It all could have been.
They might have never grown up.
That's the greatest. Yeah, that's what it really does, is it leaves you not sure, which I love.
It's really a cool. It also kind of, not to bring it back to Time as a Flat Circle. I don't know why that's on my mind a lot today, but it is almost like he also deals in multiple. It feels like concurrent timelines, like the idea that your future self and your current self are living. Overlapping
back
one
in
another.
The multiverse.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of a lot of what they did in Hill House, because there was a lot of time travel elements there where, the kids saw the adult versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And there's this one line, like the mom was like, the little girl, Karen Gillan as a little girl said, like, I saw this lady in dad's office. And I was like, there at points I was like, did she see that ghost of somebody, or is it the adult version of her? Because that's where they kept the mirror in the future. And was she seeing herself, or was she seeing a ghost?
That's a pretty great. I hadn't even thought that together.
Yeah. Well, there are some times where she's seeing the dark-haired woman, right?
Yeah.
But then there's other times that you don't like. There's so many little things like
it's the little things like she just said she keeps seeing this woman in the office. Like, was it the ghost or was it her in the future? Right. Because in the future they see like the young versions of themselves are running around too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the time jumping really fucks with me. And
isn't there also like
wonder what's real too?
Stylistically, like because he doesn't hold your hand, you could interpret that so many ways. You could also just say that artistically, this is how he's showing flashbacks. Yeah. But there are moments where it feels like they're literally right on top of each other.
They're seeing each other too.
Yeah, it seems that way to me too. It's I like how he had balls to be subtle from the word go when he made Absentia. Like for somebody to come in and that kind of with those kind of resources and manage to make something subtle and then continue to do it.
He's very consistently good. He does what he does and he does it well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I recently watched Dr. Slap, all 3 hours of it, and was never bored for even a moment.
I liked it more than I liked the book.
I thought it represented the book perfectly. Really, really good. But anyway, I also like, though, he sets things up for you to dread. Like when she shows her fail-safe trap that's ultimately supposed to smash the mirror, which is this. What is the what is the
anchor?
It's an anchor, right?
Yeah.
It's this anchor suspended with like a pulley system, and if they pull a thing, it's going to swing, and in like less than 2 seconds, it's going to destroy whatever in it. And immediately, you're like, oh, that's going to go through one of them.
Yep.
Like,
what do you feel like
the whole time you're dreading what's actually going to end up happening with that?
Don't you feel like too she's willing to die to prove this is what happened?
100%.
It's like a sword of Damocles type thing, you know, like she did it willingly.
I think that's pretty blatant. I think that is the idea. It's like, we're going to prove that this thing did this or we're going to die trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, she says that as much, like we may not, it's the idea, I think, is that either the mirror's going to kill us or we're going to kill it.
Well, I don't think they ever had a chance.
No,
because that's how strong, powerful the mirror was. As soon as you come in contact with it, if it doesn't get you now, it's going to get you eventually.
Well, either that or his mental illness is going to,
or just drive you insane. Or like once you've been in its presence, like regardless if like you go crazy or it gets you, it kills you. You're fucked regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, like at the end, you think, who knows what really happened, but the movie is saying maybe his sister's dead now. Like, he thought he was destroying the mirror. The mirror didn't let him see her standing in front of it.
Right.
So the police are there. He's being, walked out.
He basically gets thrown back in the loony bin the same day as he gets.
My brain was like, oh, not in America. In America, they're going to be like, well, we tried the loony bin and you came out and immediately killed someone. They're just going
to do that.
They're just going to put him in, they're going to put him in jail, regular prison. And it's just going to be terrible. I want him to go back to the loony bin. It was a ghost.
But he's probably not. I mean, he is going back to the loony bin, but it could have been a ghost.
Could have been a ghost. It all could have been not real.
Or it could have not been. That's
what a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it enough.
It's the Cadillac of cursed object movies.
Yeah.
I like the mix of the actual gore. Like there's some really like cringy like, gore moments, but there are times when the horror is suggested.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through the list of people and what happened to them and what the mirror did to them.
Yeah, that's creepy.
I think that was one of the probably the scariest part for me, where she describes what the mirror did to them, like that lady that dehydrated in the tub in like a day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite. I mean, like I was telling you guys earlier, I've seen this probably 4 times. It is one of the movies I can go back to over and over again because it feels so much like a short story. And there's just different layers and different ways you can look at it, and little details you can pick out every time. This is definitely one of my favorite movies.
Well, for me, it's hard to revisit because it's just emotionally exhausting.
I get you.
It's so much fun, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great horror movie, but you get so invested in it that the ending and the fate of the brother and sister is just so heartbreaking.
It's pretty fucked up.
I was telling Amy, I think I'm a little desensitized since the pandemic started, and not to violence or sad stories or anything, but in a way I can handle watching almost anything now without it really bothering me, as long as it's fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not watching somebody die on a ventilator right now. This is fine. So,
okay.
So I'm totally, it's actually opened up my entertainment options quite a bit. My newfound
You've been watching
psychopathy.
a lot of stuff lately. You watch a lot of stuff.
He does.
I do.
Like a shaton.
And now I'm just like, where's the violence? Why do they scrub all the violence out?
I think,
what's wrong with violins?
yeah, Freddy.
There's too much violins on TV.
I think a mirror as a cursed object is my favorite version of a cursed object.
It's pretty great.
Oh, I'd love a cursed butt plug movie, though.
I guarantee you somebody's working on it right now.
It already exists. I guarantee it.
Certainly.
There's probably multiple ones.
Probably. And a series.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about Oculus. We all love it.
It's like, you promised we're going to destroy this butt plug.
It's the
killed
butt
mom and
plug.
dad.
Yeah, killed mom and dad. Do you remember the Christmas boot or the giving boot? What was it from
No,
SNL?
Wishing boot.
Oh, the wishing
wishing
boot. The third option. That's the opposite of a cursed item.
Mm-hmm.
Or what was the mirror in Harry Potter where
the mirror
Erised?
Idris. Yeah. Yes.
Of Idris Alba?
Yeah.
It would show
That's
you
what I would
your
see in
wish or something.
It shows you your fondest, desire.
But mirrors as supernatural portals.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a cursed object too, because didn't Dumbledore talk about how some people
they would just stand there
in the
and
mirror because they saw what they wanted and they kind of drove them crazy.
And they wasted away.
That's how I feel about television.
Anyway, so thank you.
Good job.
Before
Good
we
job,
say hi
Mike
to our
Flanagan.
Beelzebubs, Andy, do you want to tell us our topic can of question?
Oh yeah, that's kind of dark, but it could also be fun. Plan the way you want to be sent off into the next realm. Plan your funeral.
Plan your funeral.
No money or ethics involved. You can do anything you want.
No money, no ethics.
Yeah.
No ethics. I want to be buried with George Washington, so people come to my grave.
Oh, just laying on top of him?
Just kidding.
Face down?
Yes. All right.
Face down, ass up.
Topicana will be obviously released this coming Wednesday for you patrons to have.
That's right. And Origins is out now.
And Origins is out now.
And I'm going to give you some gentle music to announce these names over so that we want to thank our Beelzebubs.
Alise.
Aw. Yay, see you soon.
Amanda. Ernest.
Yay.
Mark. Bill F. Blake.
Lerp.
Tree and Alex.
Doodly doo.
Jeffel.
Fuppo.
And a good one.
Hey,
Great
Ron.
one. Brandon and Emily. Adam.
Brong.
Bill C. Blayne. Monica.
I made noises.
Alyssa.
Grank.
Brian. Carla. And we have a new Beelzebub this week to say hello to.
Izzy.
What up?
Yay, I love your sandwiches.
Yay.
We have a deli here called Izzy's, in case you're wondering.
These fine folks are the
Welcome
finest.
to the club.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Some funny egg